What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host, Donovan Quick, and we have some semi-breaking news. This came out a few hours ago, so most of you probably know. Saquon Barkley officially has permission to seek a trade. Now, we talked about this on the channel before, about, the Dolphins should make an offer for him back when this whole thing started, all the rumors started. And the answer is plain and simple, yes. The Dolphins should make a run at him, and it came out another couple hours ago that the Dolphins do plan to make a run. Now, the asking price is a first-round pick or something equivalent to a first-round pick. I think the Dolphins have the people, the picks, everything that they have, they can put in and get Jonathan Taylor. Now, the question is what is he worth? What is he going to get paid? We all know right now Bijan Robinson is the highest paid running back in the NFL this year, making $13 million. So is Jonathan Taylor worth more than that? He's been on the PUP, probably because of this whole situation. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not coming off the PUP. I'm not, all this personal issues. It seemed sus. Now, I know Colts fans, they were hoping for the best, and they're like, oh, no, it's personal reasons, he's excused, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, that was just for this, because he was not ending his holdout like Josh Jacobs just did, and it looks like he's going to be traded. Now, I certainly think that he's going to be traded, and I think the Dolphins should be one to try and make it go there. Now, the money, making that work, I think the Dolphins, at this point, would be willing to make this work with Jonathan Taylor. They're already paying, they didn't want to pay Dalvin Cook. He's a little bit on the older side, already has a significant injury history with his shoulder, hasn't played a full 17-game season in, a couple years because of that shoulder injury. I think he played all 17 last year, but he missed like half of 3 games. So I don't really count that. He started, but he didn't finish, the entire game. But yeah, so Jonathan Taylor, yes, he had the ankle injury last year, had the surgery this offseason to clean it up, has been on the PUP because of that. But is it really because of the surgery, or is it because of this whole situation and they just wanted to open a roster spot for themselves because they knew he wasn't going to be there? The Dolphins trading for him would immensely impact this team. We already have a good running game. We just put up 200 on the Texans, and the Texans have a significantly improved defense. Now, they have improved at the top with Will Anderson and other guys over there that they just signed, but they're not, they're not deep, so it's hard to tell. The Dolphins are very happy with Savon Ahmed, very happy with Raheem Mostert. Jeff Wilson hasn't really played too much. Devon Achane has really impressed, but, if you're talking about a package that's worth a first-round pick, you're talking about trading maybe a second-round pick and Jeff Wilson, or trading Devon Achane and another third. You're talking about those kinds of packages, and I for one would not be against it. Even if we sell Christian Wilkins over to the Colts, we talked about Christian Wilkins. He wants to get paid. He's like the soul of this defense. He's right there in the front line. He's the captain. What would it look like if we were to get rid of him? If we trade him, what would that look like? And maybe, possibly, could he be included in this trade for Jonathan Taylor? Could we trade Christian Wilkins for Jonathan Taylor and say a first-round pick? This is some stuff that could possibly be discussed. The Dolphins are expected to explore options for Jonathan Taylor. But of course there are reasons not to go after Jonathan Taylor. As most of you know, like I just kind of said, Christian Wilkins has not gotten a contract yet. He's started in a hold in So where he's not practicing in team drills, just individual stuff, and being in the meeting rooms and watching film and everything else and helping out his teammates. He's being a very good teammate. He's just not participating in team drills so he doesn't get injured. With that being said, how would it look to the locker room if he were to not get paid? But not only that, but would we bring in Jonathan Taylor and, we pay Jonathan Taylor? We already brought in Bradley Chubb and paid Bradley Chubb. We brought in Ramsey, paid Ramsey. Paid Xavier Howard last year. We paid a whole bunch of guys that we have not paid Christian Wilkins as of yet. We know Zach Sealer has still not gotten his extension. So how would it look, to the locker room if we keep going outside and paying other players from other teams and trading draft capital and paying these guys a bunch of money, but we're not paying our own guys that have been developing in our locker room, have been the soul of our locker room? How would it look to the guys in the locker room? That's another question. That's another perspective. Honestly, if it were me, I know a couple of people are like, if I was Christian Wilkins and they traded for Jonathan Taylor before I get paid, I'm requesting a trade immediately. I don't think that's going to happen. I had a little conversation with Jacob before I made this video, and he pointed out to me like, hey, look, they know it's a business, and they know that if they trade for Jonathan Taylor and pay him, they're all in for a championship right now. So how much is it worth to your career to go into, your contract year to go and chase a championship and then, maybe leave next year and get paid somewhere else? Would you be willing to do that without, having that extension? And that's another angle from it, and it's really hard for me to say. And I kind of understand where Jacob was coming from on that, because it's very difficult to kind of be like, these guys aren't robots, but it's also like, okay, we're going to win now. How much is a championship worth to me? Is a championship worth to me risking my, probably if Christian Wilkins, God forbid, gets hurt this year and we chase a championship, he's possibly risking 15 million. Probably, that probably a little bit more per year depending on his, contract. He's probably going to go from a $23-24 million contract next year to possibly, 16, 17, if that, if he gets hurt this year. So there's that side of it as well. I think Christian Wilkins personally would be on board with chasing that championship, and there's enough guys in this locker room that would be okay with chasing the championship and, letting the money go. But a lot of people aren't like that. And, when you're in this mindset, you're talking about a lot of money that if you get hurt, you're losing out on. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor. If he gets hurt this year playing for the Colts, he's losing out on a lot of money. He already knows he's not getting paid by the Colts, so he's out of his contract next year. So at least, that if you bring him over, you have to pay the man. The agent is, allowed to talk to other teams. So they're talking about, what would Jonathan Taylor's compensation be? That would be one. And then the next would be, okay, now how much are we willing to give up to the Colts? Because it doesn't matter if, you come to an agreement with Jonathan Taylor if you can't come to an agreement with the Colts. It doesn't matter if you can come to an agreement with the Colts if you can't come to an agreement with Jonathan Taylor. Both of those things have to happen in order for this trade to go through. Personally, I think we end up sticking with our running back group, but just what Jonathan Taylor would bring to this team, we know that we did good against the Texans, but it's also the Texans. Like, they're massively improved over what they had last year, but it's still the Texans. Like, it's still, it went from a bottom 5 defense to maybe a bottom 10 defense. Not saying much, but it just is what it is. And personally, I hope we trade for him. I hope we can extend Christian Wilkins. If we can't, it is what it is. But I'd rather have, Jonathan Taylor, and I'd rather pay him $11-12 million a year. I think he's going to ask for a lot more than that, but I think once his agent sees the market that it is right now, if we can guarantee enough money to him over the first couple of years, to the point where we can restructure it, and kind of like what we did with Bradley Chubb, kind of like what we did with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, and restructure the contracts each year to a signing bonus, so that way he gets paid like that, lowers the cap, and then the back end, which is, the running back's lifespan, it won't cost as much to cut ties with him if we need to. That's my 2 cents on it. Let me know what your comments are, your thoughts on it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with all your friends. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, guys, we're going to be dropping some merch, so make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure your friends subscribe. Make sure your grandmother subscribes. And don't forget, tell somebody you love them. Deuces.